and fifth.
Second.
Okay, the only amendment
Can
we
you
will have
repeat
is,
that for the record? Sorry, can you repeat that?
oh, yes, looking for an approval of the minutes of our April meeting. We have a first,
Second.
the only changes I see are bringing Florida up to present. She was actually here during the last meeting, so, that change has been made, Glenn. already?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Any other concerns with the agenda? All good? In favor?
Hi.
Aye. Financials,
Okay, I'd like to go out a little out of order here. And, in honor of Scott White's, persistence and patience with one of our accounts, IDA number 9, I would like to present Mr. White with a copy of the payoff check.
Scott,
oh, very nice.
Scott, what kind of dressing do you want?
Woo
Please.
He's in the middle of a moment.
Seen in glory, Brian didn't order wine dressing.
So this just took making a call and saying, hey,
No, it took making multiple calls and multiple emails and persistence and patience.
And is that the full amount due?
Yes.
So that's
paying for it.
Yeah,
very nice.
all
Very
right,
nice.
so just wanted to inject a little nonsense into the beginning of the meeting and now we can get down to
Very
it.
nice.
We love that.
Yeah. Okay, so IDA treasurer's report, just clarifying to the board that we already have a process, the loan accounts, which we no longer have, or maintain, except for a couple that are shortly paying off. Any funds there, just get moved right over to the LDC loan fund account. And, when we get to the loan report, we're nearly done with those accounts. Our Millennium is slightly different. Let's see.
So 5, 6, and 7, what's the update on those?
Oh, I'm not there yet. I'm still on the treasurer's report. I'll get that to it. I just wanted to touch base. So the funds that are in the HUD loan funds and IDA loan funds, we have a process. They get transferred over at the end of each month.
Yep.
Number 2, Bank of Cooperstown savings account. We were questioned about this on our audit, why we maintain it. We don't really use it. If it's okay with the board, I'd like to just close it and consolidate it into our savings account. Okay,
And if we're not using it, instead of putting in our savings and earn 0.00 nothing, why don't we take
Put it in
another
CD.
CD?
yeah, we can do that. We just reviewed and updated those.
Your only other alternative would be to spin it into a CD where it is right now at 4% for 5 months.
Yeah, I think that's our next step is, looking at what other options we have greater access to than the CD.
It will only work a little bit better for us.
Yeah,
Because that's been fairly consistent, right? 40,000 plus the amount.
oh, yeah, we haven't touched it. So, yeah, so the background on that is we had set aside. So originally that account was open for the sole purpose of securing a line of credit with that bank back in 2013-14, when we were doing the ethanol project. And then, that was 200,000. Then we utilized that 200,000 as our match for one of our IRP loans. And then the remainder was there in a reserve related to DRNC when they were having issues with their diaper grinder and screening and everything like that. So the purpose that the money, it served its purpose and it's just cleaning it up.
It makes it easier if it's all in one location too.
Yes. And then item 3, just the amount that's due. That was from the emergency repair back in March. The industries have been billed. We should have that payment early.
And just as a reminder, Glenn, so is that proportion somehow?
Yeah, so they'll pay half.
Okay.
Yep,
I mean, so you have how many entities that are?
just the 2.
Just the two.
Yeah, Saputo and Friesland Campina.
I think there's a third. That's-
There's a third entity connected, but only two are responsible for operation and maintenance.
That brings up my question about the sewer works corp. At
Yes.
one point in time, we had balance sheets for them.
I just haven't, I promised them for June. How about that?
Okay, did you write that down?
I am writing it down now.
Excellent.
What are we writing down? Because the last time Glenn lost his notes.
No, I lost it, I
The
kept.
balance sheet information.
Thanks for that.
The Sewer Works Corporation.
Next
balance
week, why
sheet,
you gotta-
financials, and income statement.
Well, I should keep track of these things too.
Okay. Skipping over to the treasurer's report for the LDC. IRP 5, there's an amount that, that says, oh, we're in the so we're in the process of drawing down just under 195,000 of that. We have, depending upon, the board's mood today, we may approve another loan that would draw down the remainder. And then the agri lending program balance, well, that brings us to the next, so, yeah. So the money that's there is what is actually in the account. We have an outstanding, commitment to Catskill Packing. We approved them in November. Technically, their, commitment letter expired, May 25th. They've just received, commitment from CWC for the remainder of their project financing, which is what the holdup was. So I'd like to see if the board would just renew that commitment to them, and we'll.
Same commitments, just to reapprove.
Yeah. Yep, just a reapproval, just to extend it to closing. So that was a $250,000 loan, secured by all the farm and,
Existing business assets.
existing and to be purchased processing assets. So in sum, it's about $850,000 worth of equipment.
Generally, the only challenge with approval in November, and here it is in June, is what's happened to the company, good or bad, in the meantime. Do you know?
Yeah, we've been in touch with them throughout, and,
Things are no worse than they were then.
yeah, no worse, if not better.
Okay,
I mean, should we ask for a new balance sheet or?
the bank generally says 6 months. We're sort of there,
Yeah. All right,
so we
I'll-
probably should.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Oh, and then we will also have, sorry, I'm Claro. We also have a second mortgage on a residence in the village of Sydney. The first mortgage is like $20,000 remaining, so. We believe we're good with collateral.
They've been very transparent with us, throughout the whole process.
Yeah. Okay, then on to IDA loan report. Number 4 is gonna be addressed in the audit, that was the write-off. 5, 6, and 7, I think we talked about it last time, we will be paid in full on that. Everything's been agreed to. I think last time we had to file the agreement of the disbursements, we went over it at that time, where our standing was and everything like that. So that's all good, it's been formalized, and the last thing that went through was just the law firms to get their expenses approved, so now everything's finalized.
So the bankruptcy judge has approved it at all of the funding as submitted
Yes,
in.
and
Just sort of
the
waiting for it.
lawyer expenses, and then sometime in early June, they should move forward with cutting the checks.
Okay,
Okay, so that'll be your June.
June or July,
so that's principal and interest we get back.
yes. Yeah, so I don't have the total of what our principal is, but I'm gonna just ballpark it and say it's like $6,000 above principal. payments owed.
Okay.
Maybe even more.
That's an awful lot more than we all expected.
Right.
At this point in time. What do we know about what's going on with 8 in the courts?
Number 8. So with that one, I want to switch attorneys because one is great, but a little nice, and I'd like to switch it to our gunslinger.
Yep.
Yeah,
Do you need a motion to do that?
no, it's just an FYI. Yeah,
Right.
just let me know.
Business decision you're making?
Yep.
Okay.
Uh,
What about 9?
Okay, so 9 and 11, they've been issued letters. Our next step is to go to formal judgments. Our attorney has been in contact with both of them. He's pressuring them. So we'll see what those are gonna be. They're gonna be, I'm gonna
Lost you. We're hanging.
Yeah, we're hanging. I can't hear. They must.
Okay,
They must be
okay,
sitting on
so you
them.
too, Florida? Okay,
Yep, I can't hear. I see
I see them, yeah.
I see them. I don't hear them. And I saw the cars going by. I see them moving.
There we
Okay.
are.
Now we go.
You can hear us
Now
now?
you have it?
Well, it says
Yep.
We got you.
unstable.
Oh, that's bad.
Okay.
Okay. So as we clean this up, the loan report is gonna look substantially different. So Pat and I have been talking about this. So number 1, 12, and 13, those are mortgages that are held by the IDA. So they will remain under the IDA, and that's permissible for us to do.
We can't assign those or sell them, can't assign those?
We could, I mean, but holding paper on a property is different than lending it, so it's fine with the ABO for us
So it's
to
not an audit issue.
hold them, yeah, no. So the mortgages are fine, loans, so that would be 1, 12, 13. 2, 3, and 10 are all good paying notes that we're just gonna continue with the payoff. And comptroller's office is fine with that because they're existing. And also, those are millennium funds, which is different than a loan account, because the IDA does different things with that. And then the other ones are just cleanup ones that we're hoping to address before the end of this year.
Yep.
Okay, on to the LDC, number 9, paid in full. We had Scott's presentation earlier at the beginning of the meeting. Number 11, that is with our attorney. They are in the process of selling the property. We have a first mortgage.
What do we think the properties were?
250.
Okay.
So it should be okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Number 26. Lindsay?
Do I mention that now?
Sure, yeah, so, go ahead, why not, just go ahead.
Okay, so I think that with the loans that we're struggling with, I think coming at a different approach and offering like a weekly pay versus, oh my gosh, I have to, pay X amount at the end or the beginning of the month and I don't have that. So if they could make incremental payments weekly, then it would be helpful for us. And I think that it would be less pressure for them and overwhelm.
And based on what you see, can they do that? And can they have the weekly payments?
We'll see.
So we've been very successful in setting up all of our payments on auto transfer.
Yeah, so I think the
Well,
only
yeah,
problem
so-
with this is that there's a lag between the time that Tab pushes the button versus the time that the payment actually gets taken out. And I think that for some of these new business owners, it's like, oh, I need this money out of my account, so I know what I'm left with, not, hanging in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
could probably.
that 3 days is apparently too long and it causes
It is.
confusion.
It is.
Yes.
That should create other concerns.
Well, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, if we're facilitating weekly payments versus monthly for running a business, that causes concern for me.
So,
This is more of a workout kind of situation
Okay.
now.
Yeah,
If
So
it works, it
now
works.
it's,
this would be like for our pre-need business owners,
uh,
you know?
Yeah.
The ones that. need funds.
Life support.
Do we have a general understanding, is their business gonna succeed, or, I mean, this one just started in when?
well, that's not on this report and it should be.
Because I guess you do start an
It's just
exception,
last
it's
year.
like then you make that exception for everyone. at
Well,
that
in a
point.
workout, then, yeah, you get whatever you can.
Do we have any feeling as to if this business is successful at this point?
I would like to have a meeting, I would like to have a meeting with 2 of our loan customers that I think this could potentially work to get a better idea of, where they're at. One of them I have not seen since before we made the loan, and I saw.
That's
the
already
other
with
one-
the attorney.
What?
Number
Yeah, that's
I'm talking about,
46?
no,
46.
I'm
Oh,
talking about,
oh, that one. We're not ready to talk about that yet.
right, but,
Okay, so from our standpoint as a
Yes.
board,
Mhm.
you don't need our approval to take this. to
No,
weekly
but this is where
payments.
we would need your approval.
yeah, we need to.
Where we would like to offer them the ability to pay through Venmo.
How are we gonna do that?
Right, what are the mechanics of that? How are you gonna do that?
So,
Can the IDA have a Venmo account?
yes, you can have a business Venmo account. There's fees are charged, there's fees applied that they would be passed on to the payee.
Yeah,
Is there any feeling as to how many will use Venmo? I might use it, like it's-
At this point, this one person that we're,
Oh, okay,
just,
okay.
this would be a loan number 26 pilot to see.
See if it actually.
Yeah.
is right.
Because here's what we think. We think this guy makes money, but he's horrible at managing his money. And if we can get him to at least start giving us weekly payments, even though it's on a volunteer basis. Lindsay can be very good about calling him, being like, hey, we haven't gotten your Venmo yet. But what it's causing us, we've cleaned up a lot of them. But what's causing us an issue with this is constantly getting the non-sufficient funds. Our bank is losing patience. Our local bank is fine, but at the corporate level, they're losing patience with how many times our account is getting dinged with non-sufficient funds on transfers
Right.
coming in.
and
And so
35
this is a way, rather than having Tabitha do a draw every single week, which we could do, and then we're fully in control. But that is still gonna hit us with our non-sufficient funds issue. If we do it this way, even though it's voluntary on their part, we believe we have a better chance of getting paid without causing our banking issues.
And you're saying they're paying the fee?
They would pay the fees, yes.
But this is gonna create more bookkeeping work, it's gonna change the interest.
Yes, that's why I'm saying, this is an emergency approach. It's either, okay, we either do this and try to limp along, or we just try to go after our collateral right now in the lawsuit. That's what
I
right?
don't have a problem doing it if we're doing this one person as a pilot to see how it goes and whether it's just too much hassle.
Yeah, I'm not huge, I'm on the fence about it, but for this specific case, I think it makes sense. And I could be wrong. We could be back next month and be like, yeah, he didn't do anything. So, yeah, whatever.
Close our account.
Yeah.
Well, collateral.
Whose email is it going in?
Oh, yeah, he's got a guarantor that is,
Yeah, like
yeah.
this.
So we have a back.
But
We're
this,
letting the guarantor know.
Yeah, we should inform the guarantor.
Yeah, but,
Well, he didn't really need money. The guarantor was millionaire or something. Right?
Yes,
Yeah, we had good collateral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
We should talk
let's,
further. in
let's give
executive
this a
session.
try,
Right,
and if it doesn't work, we ask the guarantor to pay it off.
This is a workout.
We've tried this, it's a workout, please pay it off.
We need,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we put the right security controls in place too, two-factor authentication. I would personally rather see a separate bank account.
We can do that.
Separate bank account, just a different account number. at the
Somebody
same
has your
bank.
Venmos, you know, last thing you want is to draft out of the account that you have money in.
Right. So it would be opening a new account at the same,
We've got an account we can utilize for this,
okay,
an
You already have
existing
one.
one. Yep,
an existing account
Yep.
that you don't use much, you
Nope.
have no money in it.
no,
Or little,
the balance is usually zero. It's our pass-through account for grants.
okay,
So it generally has, you know, even if money comes in a month, it's out the same month, and so it's
And this would be
it's
the
always
receipts
zero
only.
balance. Yeah, this would be
Okay.
receipts only. Yeah.
Two-factor
you
authentication.
still have to keep an eye on, it. That could be risk.
Noted,
That
heard,
money-
loud and clear.
Thank
The
you.
grant money could be put in there and then they Venmo it out before you realize it.
yeah, I think Noel's suggestion of a whole new account is probably.
I think so.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to allow a Venmo scenario for the LDC? I mean,
I
no, I don't think we're not.
I don't know. That it's kind of gray area. I mean, it's, you know. So I was talking to Lindsay about this. As staff level, we have the right to make decisions on, you know, workouts and things like that. You know, that aren't, oh, hey, we're writing this off. But I mean, hey, yes, you can have a short-term deferment. You can pay the, you know. So we have that authority. I just wasn't sure about a whole new collection mechanism, whether that's a board decision
Why
or not.
don't we make a motion just to?
Yeah.
So when in doubt, I always make a motion if we don't know.
Right, so I'll make the motion as a pilot program, right, in this one circumstance. With us opening a new savings account and the money to have in.
Second,
In favor?
I,
Aye.
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 that's how we're gonna.
For the risk assessment.
That's again, specific,
A specific one,
one offer.
out of
Right.
desperation, how can we meet this
well,
guy? in
as
the
a pilot, maybe this works and we do it in the future, right?
Yeah.
You know, we-
Just.
Yeah, I
off the
tend
top
to,
of my
I
head,
tend to
if
agree
you
with
break
that.
down-
What's that? Chris?
This might be a pilot, but you know, business merchants are using Venmo more and more and more. And it might just end up being that way anyhow down the road. So I say doing the pilot is a great idea. Just see how it works and work out any kinks.
This says 1.9% plus 10 cents of the total payment.
Yeah, but
It's not-
Yeah, so we'll figure it out. It's gonna be a calculation
Yeah.
and,
it's gonna be
you know,
added to the
we'll
loan.
add it to there and there will be a slight admin fee, you know?
And I think, I know you can with PayPal, you can actually sign that fee to the pay order.
Mhm.
Oh, so we don't have to bill them for it, we do.
Yeah, we're just gonna-
Assign it to-
I, if
Oh,
it works
okay.
like PayPal.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right, moving on down the list. Number 36, we received a payment, or they mailed a payment, but they believe, well, again, this is a first mortgage situation. They're out of business with their practice, but they've got a buyer for the property.
is 42.
42,
back doing
yep.
better?
They just made a payment. This is just gonna be a catch-up situation.
So they're wrong.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I see that the Hampton inspecting out again too.
Yes. Yeah, it's just, you know, being a restaurant in Delaware County. Number 46, that's went over to our attorney. I haven't gotten an update from him on that. Number
And
50.
just out of curiosity, do we know anything about that at all? That specific loan other than it's what? From a business standpoint.
I would like to talk about this in executive
Okay.
session.
Fair enough, thank you.
Looks like it was. With an even dollar amount there.
Number 57 is just one we're gonna be keeping our eye on and managing. Number 58. So we had made a prior, payout offer, basically splitting it. We filed we have a filed judgment for the full amount. That was filed in April. We had an agreement to try to minimize our losses on a payout amount. After we filed the judgment, he was notified of that. He would like to begin paying $500 a month for a few months until he can come up with the rest of the money. And I told our attorney, yes, we will accept anything he wants to send us.
Not gonna say no.
Yeah, we're not gonna say no. The judgment's been filed and then, this doesn't hurt us one way or the other, but hopefully there might be some progress there. Number 65, is not on our list because they're actually paid ahead. But this is just an FYI that they are looking to sell the business. But they're planning on operating it for at least another year as they, it's not a fire sale, it's not a going out of business sale, it's a, hey, I'm ready to retire sale. So he's gonna continue to operate, they're gonna continue to make payments. They may chew off some of the balance that they paid ahead. As they're limping along, but yes, their ultimate goal is to sell it as an ongoing business.
What is our collateral on that? I don't know if I was here when that was.
Oh, so we have an amalgamation of equipment, title,
We went to this thesaurus.
we have a bunch of green couches. That's a term that Sophia has coined in the office. Why is our collateral always a bunch of green couches?
Sold at one time.
Yes, we have, there's a small pool of precious coins. Yeah, it's, like I said, it's an amalgamation
Who
of
sold
that.
those coins?
Standard Bank.
Oh.
So is that you guys? No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you're, former, yeah,
Right?
yes, so inland.
So are they selling property and a home or just the business?
So they own both sides of the road. They live on one and they maintain the bee farm on one. They would like to keep that. They would sell off the primary business, I don't want to say what it is, the primary business land, building and equipment.
But are they gonna lease out the other side of the road for them to continue to the new buyer? I mean, I imagine they're using both sides.
Oh, as far as the yes, access to that would be there.
How many by number of those things did they have last year?
They were shooting for 30. Yes. But this past season was not great.
It started and stopped before it got going.
Yes. And yeah,
How does it work? We
We're
qualify
covered
the
to some.
buyer.
what's that?
We qualify the new buyer. How's it work?
I would want to be paid off by
Yeah.
the new player. Yeah, not,
It's a new
Finance,
situation.
New loan.
yeah. Okay, just mentioning 8283, we're working with them, I know they have a past due balance, but it's more of a timing, cash flow, winter thing, and we're working them on.
Frank, can we get the loan origination date back on this report?
Yeah, I had your note, I will talk to Tabitha about that.
We've got it on the IDA, but not on.
The LDC, oh, yes, it probably was getting wide, and then, yeah, it looks like she reformatted it. Yeah,
The historical question on pure numbers of loans that we've got out there. Is this about a normal log for us?
As far as in delinquent or.
No, just
Oh, okay.
Or the
total.
amount of
Total.
loans.
Yeah, between the two entities, between 90 and 100.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
a
where-
total.
yeah. I mean, that's become our norm probably over the last 5 years. Yeah.
And the reason I ask that is, we've said that our goal is 12 more loans in 2025. How many do we put on here for your ability to manage them, contact them, stay in touch with them? Decreases,
Well, yeah, but if we increase there, then we may have to increase staff.
yeah. So. Well, I just.
The only
So
so much
it's-
to do.
From a commercial
That
lending
we got.
standpoint,
Yes.
we figured out a lender could handle around $100 million of loans. If the average loan size is 500,000 each. So as the number of loans goes up and the size goes down, it becomes more and more work, because everyone's gotta get touched.
And I guess that's the question, is there a break even here where guys can't just.
It's when Lindsay comes in and says, "Uncle."
So we don't have to talk about it.
No, but I think it's valid because, so here's my thinking. I think our loan, maybe something more a little bit for ag. But other than that, I think the amount of money we have available for lending is probably where we should be and stay. So like, I'm not pressing to be like, oh, we need to go get more money so that we can make 10 more loans. I'm fairly comfortable that where we're at, we rarely have to say no, probably less than we should. And so I think if we just keep churning at this level, I think we're probably filling our niche.
And so then my real question is, can we add maturity date on here when the loan is? So we'll have the inception date, if we could have that would tell us when loans are.
All right, well, that's a theoretical date.
Well, fair enough.
What the contract says.
Yes.
We could do a cool Excel formula that updates every time if there's a bad loan.
I think
So
we
we add a
can
percentage on it.
definitely do that. I think we're just gonna turn the orientation.
Right, you're gonna make.
Yeah,
it blend.
I don't want to make it too complicated, but I think it would help us understand.
No, that's a one-time thing. Yeah.
Right, you're
We
gonna
started here, here's when they're coming.
Yeah, no, that's a good management tool. Yeah,
You have a
absolutely.
better feel for, okay, we've got 12 coming off this year, we're adding 12 more,
Right,
we're in
and,
great shape.
and you're gonna go to landscape.
Yeah.
Format instead of.
I think we can. turn
Ledger
that-
paper.
But
And
my more concern is the delinquent ratio
Yeah,
Yes.
that's because
by dollars or number of loans.
both,
by numbers,
Yeah, but I don't think we're doing that bad.
I don't
but
think.
are we monitoring it?
Yeah,
Last year, we talked about percentages. You gave-
yeah, I did that just in
So let's
January
do
or.
that every month on this report.
Okay.
Just a simple-
It's a formula.
Just a Excel formula.
It's an Excel formula.
Okay.
We want to measure it, we
Well,
want to inspect it.
But there's
and we wanna
certain things we
understand it.
can get out of that, but like, if.
Okay, so
30%.
when I report on that, I like to use delinquent and in danger. There's like two categories, cause we're not a bank. We have a lot of delinquencies on a month-to-month basis, but are we concerned about
Well,
it?
so
You
banks
know?
do that too, right?
Yes.
They have a. thing
So
that's over
delinquent
35
end of
days or
concern.
45
Okay.
days.
So
Right,
you,
but
so
you
you
don't
do like a
look at
risk
delinquent and say,
Bar,
okay.
risk
like
analysis.
a risk barometer. I mean, it's great,
10% is
it's like-
restaurant.
Well, we also.
Now we're saying,
banks also
okay,
have set up
let's look at a
We
restaurant.
should get more
Say
restaurants.
180
Or look
days,
at
it's
them a lot
automatically
closer.
Or
written.
this.
Right, no, I know that, and then I'm also thinking along the lines of like grading
Exactly
loans,
right.
like they
You've
do with
got
stock,
payment
that makes
risk.
sense too.
And you
Well,
got principal.
They do that by credits.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna.
Yeah,
move
we'll
forward.
come up with something. Tab and I will work on it.
Anything else on the?
Your 1 o'clock is gonna go on.
No, we're gonna.
Well, I was just the guy asking, anything probably irrelevant.
Trying to-
Treasurer's report, Good motion, Laura, anything else?
No.
Did I get a motion?
Wait,
Go ahead.
wait a minute.
Yep, go ahead.
We had a deposit in there for, similar that we talked about 6 months ago for $93,000. Actually, it wasn't a deposit, it was funds going out. Was that closing that loan that we had approved?
I'm assuming, but I would have to,
And then the question is, why did we delay that? Because when they were in, it was like needing that money immediately in
Oh,
order
no.
to continue to live.
let me just get,
It only surprised me that it was occurring in April.
so that would be invoices.
Yep. 93,000.
Ninety-eight,
Of course.
530. Yep, that one. Yeah, that's how long it took to close.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
I would have thought they didn't need the money.
If you wanna invest, I can hook you up.
I did have a question, Glenn, on the deposit detail for each April. You've
Yeah.
got two board of supervisors appropriations there, and just was trying to understand, one was 71, 750, the other was 150. Is that a normal, that's,
So that was going to, must be to how we break it up to different accounts. Maybe,
so one's your operating account and the other one into the fund income?
yes, yep,
Yes,
yes,
that's a
that's,
normal-
yep,
Okay.
yep, that's
So
how we
that's-
divvy it up,
So
so
you're getting 200,
two. Yes, 221, 250, or something like that, 750,
okay,
yeah,
so that's an annual allotment from the board. of
Yes.
supervisors.
Yep.
Yeah.
and
That
so,
doesn't change, that
That's-
stays consistent.
yes.
It would be an annual approval.
Yes, it
Yes.
takes an annual approval, but we've been at that level for like 5-6
There's
years.
no increases, it's always,
It's what if I feel the time is right.
all right, I
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify that.
So the first one is basically to help cover our operational expenses to handle our programming. And then the other one is to help invest in property redevelopment. So that's why they're broken up between the two.
Okay.
And I thought that we should have in the minutes, thanking the board of supervisors for the allotments. That they're much appreciated and the give back to the county is tremendous in what the IDA. Economic Development and LDC do for the county.
Mhm.
Good, that's good.
Never heard of.
So thank you and investment return.
Yes.
Got it. All right, I'm gonna blow through these so we can make.
So we need a more?
Oh, yeah, to approve, yeah.
So moved.
All in favor?
Um,
Aye, thank you.
All right, now you can blow through last year's goals that you created this year.
Yeah, you like them?
I do.
Yes. But they were our legit goals from last year. But then, so we did it for the idea. I threw in one for the LDC too. We haven't done it for them. But a lot of our goals under the IDA were related to our lending and grants, which is activity that the LDC does now. So that's why I threw one in under the LDC and one in under the IDA.
Okay, and now what happens with that document?
We'll update it every single year at our organizational meeting.
And it lives on the website.
Yes, and it has to be posted on
Has
our
to be-
website.
It has to be posted
This
on
is
the
an
website,
ABO requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
along with the other
That's enough.
69 things.
That's critical, that's enough detail for.
The IDA is more detailed than most IDAs provide. The LDC is basically on par. Probably even there's more detail there as well.
Glenn, do we need a general catch-all category that says if anything that comes along, we'll take a look at? Like, a couple of years ago, when Amphenol had a flood, suddenly we jumped in and everything we did was Amphenol related. Do you have a catch-all category, or do you need one that if there's, emergency?
Okay, so I think I can justify anything we want to.
All right, no. I just,
So do you need us, anything from us to approve those?
You can approve them, yeah, that would be great if you're okay with them, but from now on, and this is, again, getting cut. This will become part of our annual organization.
It'll be.
Okay.
In addition to the policies, there'll be an updated version of this, and you'll pass them in that one housekeeping motion.
Okay.
So if you want a motion now,
you want a second? No, you want me to?
No,
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is yours.
DVH, Lana, that's where you wanna go next.
Yes,
This is a
okay.
Big discussion.
This one might be worth going into executive session for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion to go into executive session?
No, but she needs to take us off.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it. You
Okay.
gotta take it off before.
All in favor?
Aye.
You seen that?
Motion to leave executive session. Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're back in public session.
So I will make the motion to proceed with the bond, well, the forming of the.
Requesting approval to create a capital resource corporation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstention?
Staying.
Now, that was just from the creation of the CRC.
This is just to,
Recommendation.
this is just to request approval of
To
creating.
create the CRC, correct?
Okay.
Okay. We're all set with that. Let's move forward with the updates. If you're ready, Glenn?
Yes, whenever you're ready. Okay, so let's get ready to go. Okay. So, we had our, preliminary exit conference with, the comptroller's office on our audit. They're ending up looking at 2 or 3 different areas, with some recommendations. So we went over 9 things. Most of them were no findings. The ones where we'll probably have findings were relating to tracking, sales tax and mortgage recording tax exemption is doing a better job on that. Some discussions over working more closely with our audit on who gets the job numbers and stuff like that. Just working with them to make sure we get copies of everything that the businesses submit from our auditors. Those were really the 2 areas of finding. Other than that, we need to update our list of property. And do some more transparency work on our grants provided. So where we are now with that is sometime in the next 3 to 6 months, we will get a copy of a report at staff level. We will review that with them. That will be our exit conference. That's where we'll say, listen, you guys are screwing us a little here. And, we'll have our chance to respond. They'll, go back up and then they'll issue a final report. We will not see the final report until it's issued to the public.
So how many months away from that are we expecting?
I would say mid to late fall. Yeah, but they're out of our office, so also.
And there's some give and take there, you're saying.
We have an opportunity to plead our case. Yes.
Doesn't change anything.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
The opportunity is important.
Sometimes it does.
And it lists. It's supposed to list what our concerns were back to them.
Oh, yeah,
Our response.
They'll say, oh, this is our finding, and we'll be like, oh, you're all wet and this is why, or, okay, yeah, we can do better. It'll be, and we'll talk about that. I'm not just gonna whip it out.
Right.
That'll be a board discussion.
But there's, I didn't hear any specific mention of website related.
They're gonna mention it, but they understand that we are moving forward and that we're getting closer every day.
So the last time we had some website, here's what.
We're getting there.
Clean it up, perfect.
Yeah, there's still more to do, and there will always be more to do, and they acknowledge that. They're like, there's no thing as 100% compliance.
No, because then they would be out of the job.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, okay, Sheffield Estates, so moving forward with that, so everything's hopefully next week. I think, whenever the next village planning board meeting is, we'll be on the agenda again, we've held our public hearing. So the board is ready to act as long as we have all our ducks in a row. Our last duck to get in the row is the property owners of the townhomes. We've got agreement on all of them. If I sell one of them, the townhome that the LDC owns. So magically, all his concerns about increased cost of maintenance of property by accepting the other land and blah, all that disappears if I sell him the other unit. At a market rate price.
that's out of our hair.
So, yes, so I think we're there. I think we're there.
Negotiate.
Yeah.
Were there any people at the meeting?
Yeah, so there was some concern that,
Was there some?
yeah, so I'm gonna say it in my way. There were some people there that were disappointed that they're no longer gonna be able to trespass on the land that they've spent the last 20 years trespassing upon.
Oh,
And, someone's gonna put a building there and shine their light right into their bedroom window. Why? Who would do that? Yeah, so those were the concerns that were expressed. Okay, the sales contracts there, we're still on the works in them. Moving forward, but not there yet. Hancock Fast New York, for that application, we talked about reaching out to the property owners. Really, the first step is, and this is an expense, and so I wanted to bring it to the board before I do it, is, we're tied to appraised value, fair market value, so we need an appraisal. So I can't even really approach these guys with a solid argument of why I'm only willing to pay this based on an option, if I have the appraisal. So, I don't know what commercial appraisals are gonna cost, probably at least 10,000 a piece. So that's more than what I would move forward with without board permission. So,
How many parcels?
3. Well, one is just vacant, so technically it's 3 parcels. In my mind, it's really 2 appraisals, because 2 parcels go with 1 facility.
How big are the parcels?
So in total, we have to come up with 40 acres.
Right.
One of them, the one that's 2 parcels, I think in total, that's like 34-ish. And then the other one on its own is 52.
37, I think.
37?
Yeah. There's another small strip in there too. He might be able to, the broker might be able to get that pulled into it. I don't know.
Yeah. But so that's it. I just wanna, I will get formal quotes, but before, I didn't wanna hit you in the middle of a month with a, why is Glenn doing this? So I'm gonna get formal quotes for doing appraisals on the property. I'll share them with the board. Okay?
And does that need a motion? from
We
us,
could do-
resolution from us?
No.
No, because I'm just soliciting it and we'll do an email resolution.
Okay.
When we get them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we talked in the past about the housing infrastructure grant. We weren't for a specific project.
You skipped TCL.
GCL. Oh, yeah. Haven't heard from the EPA in 6 weeks from the time when they declined my offer to set up a meeting because they were gonna reach out to the parties and set up a meeting.
Oh, okay.
So I talked to Wayne about this. I've dealt with this EPA attorney, this is my third go around with her. And she's gonna promptly set a meeting with us probably in the next 1 to 3 years. Yes,
Federal.
That'll let that.
Yeah,
company
federal.
Reach out a little bit more.
yes, yes. When I found out that it was the same attorney, I'm like, oh, this is not even really worth talking about anymore. But it's still on the agenda.
I saw there were some brownfield funds available, and I just didn't know if they would apply to this property, but.
Yeah,
So
we're
we
all
have
cleaned up,
meetings.
so I'm gonna, yeah, and, but I think there are some of those, so the brownfield is, there's money to clean it up, which
Yeah.
this is all cleaned up. But sometimes, I didn't read it closely enough, there's money to market brownfield properties, that's what we would be interested in. But yeah, we need to own the property.
Those funds could all be dried up by the time we get our first meeting.
We might be already.
Yeah.
Sorry, so F, housing infrastructure grant, so there was a deadline for the pilot program that they put out, we weren't ready to proceed. Now it's gonna be, the funding under this category was doubled in the state budget. To 100 million, and it's now part of the CFA process. So working with the potential developer, you know, whether we're gonna move forward or not.
So is this what Franklin got?
No, Franklin got a restore grant, Lindsay's gonna talk about under the LDC. Yeah, redact, I just put this as an FYI, and in the folder, there is a copy of the catalog for CFA grants that are available in 2025.
120.
Yes.
It's a great read.
I got too far, but I was like, and I like reading.
That's where you say AI summary.
Yeah.
I started reading and then I went ahead and like, 128 pages, I didn't read it.
I'm still good.
Yeah,
Skimming comes in handy.
Do we, just to back up in the, they're trying to almost to time, on the housing infrastructure grant, do we have an application that we believe for?
we had a intent to apply that we had submitted.
Okay. So that's still there.
That's still there. Yeah, but now it would be rolled into, if we move forward now, it's gonna have to roll into a CFA in
Right.
those timeframes.
Okay,
Yep, and I've talked to them and they're reviewing where they are.
okay.
So redeck, that was an FYI, land bank, no movement there, that's just staying on the agenda. Just briefly under other old new business, it's now a moot point. But there was, briefly, there was a car that was available for sale. It is no longer available for sale. Well,
Nothing, just I'm listening.
oh, okay, so, I'm trying to move fast.
Yeah, no, you're doing well.
Yeah, okay, so, I would like, permission from the IDA to look to pursue the purchase of a vehicle, to be owned by the IDA, but all insurance, maintenance, operating costs to be covered under my economic development budget. And, you know, at an amount not to exceed $10,000. The
And
rationale is because we currently share a car and Lindsay and Sophia are getting frustrated about the lack of availability of the car we have shared.
So, go ahead, Bruce.
so I think we should make a motion that puts a minimum that you should spend and a maximum. The car you were looking at, I thought was too old, the price is too low. We're always getting the bottom of the ground. You need a vehicle that we're not gonna have in a repair shop for all of next year.
Right.
So I think you need to be looking steps up from where you.
Well,
are.
before I would even agree to buy it, it's gotta get approval by Lindsay and
Yeah, but-
Sophia and
But
they're,
there's vehicles out there. Walt Motors is gonna send up some that they want. Just to give you a reference, if you're interested or not, it's out of choose, they have some Outbacks. But I think you need to buy a better vehicle than you're looking.
I don't know what you can buy for $10,000.
I was just trying to get money out of you guys, so you know, you tell me how much you're willing to
And
spend.
I would even say that car.
Yeah, and they could get hung up on the mountainside.
Yeah, I mean, I would think you'd want a minimum of 20.
I think my office buys the fleet vehicles like the government.
That's
Bid like 22 or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
we're,
brand
we're
new.
looking at SUV.
Yeah, I got all-wheel drive SUV.
Okay.
Probably Like a Chevy or.
Blazer.
And what do they pay for
It's a fixed rate.
State rate.
State rate,
them?
yeah. I think it was like 22 or.
All right, I'll see if the IDA counts.
We bought one
Qualifies
last
for
year.
the state rate.
If not, that blue truck out there,
You need
that
a-
doesn't sell by the end of the month.
that's kind of
Next
what
one.
It's a nice.
Yeah, to spend, yeah, $1 limit.
So we should set a minimum for you,
Okay, okay.
because otherwise you're gonna go cheap. Right. And I heard of this vehicle and you saw the nice email that I wrote you about how it should be wrapped. and-
I like that idea. If I can find a grant to wrap it, I would agree to that.
Perfect.
Just like the Sherpa,
Yes,
the New York
exactly.
Experience Sherpa.
So it promotes who we are. And if we show up in a poor looking vehicle that doesn't represent us well, that impacts us.
With partial Delaware County tagging, not that I've seen any of those.
We don't have one of those on our car, it's just a license plate.
Right, but I would make a motion that minimum 20,000, max 25,000, and any funds left would be used to make magnetic signs along the sides of the vehicle.
Shouldn't that be in your marketing budget?
Sure can.
There's second to the motion.
Maybe we should apply for the toys with them.
Second,
There you go.
everybody in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Then get a new one and be around.
Glenn, did you say aye?
I'm fine with it, but just with the wrapping, I just want you to understand, you're gonna get complaints about how fast that car is moving down the road, so.
No, you can't do that. That's why we never wrapped one that said Bank of Cooperstown, because 70 is not acceptable anywhere.
I'll continue to drive the red one. This one will be for Sophie and Lindsay.
Throw another $500 in, it's cracking down. Those people probably get cracked.
Yeah, I'll see if we're qualified for state bid or,
Yeah.
you know, at that level, yes, there's a lot more options. I might just go down to Walton and see what, if he has a lot as a Subaru out.
Right, I'll send you up that.
Sure,
stuff.
I'll be- I go, okay.
We got the option.
Bring back, you know, take it.
Okay,
Yes.
But I
because those
think
are
there-
good, they're,
I think there's enough dealers out there that you can find halfway decent, right, you can't get it on the state bid.
okay.
And if state bids got Chevys, then you can get a Terrain or whatever they are.
I'm gonna tell you what I just can't remember what it's at.
Well, we're getting into this. We've always wanted a Cadillac Escalade.
No,
No.
Oh, what about the Charger?
the Charger.
Yeah, the
No,
Charger.
that's rear wheel drive. and that
I
won't
was
get
thinking
you
of a
up that
Toyota
mountain.
4Runner personally, but it's just saying.
Okay.
All right. Should be an electrical.
And if we get the Charger, we're never gonna see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
motion to adjourn the IDA portion of our meeting today.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
so we're all at fault here for making this one.
We are.
No, we're doing well. We're doing
Oh,
well.
we're okay, we're okay.
We,
Remember, yes is very short.
Hang out here till 3 o'clock.
that's the problem. I gotta go fix the-
Oh, Lindsay's got hay down. If people are staying around to the building dedication, yeah, Lindsay's got hay down. You guys can go up up there.
Yeah,
Well, sorta. We don't have hay down yet. Sunday it'll be down, and that'll be a lot of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
LDC portion of the
Yes.
meeting. Need an approval for the draft minutes?
so moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
With the same correction.
With the same correction mentioned. Financials, we already went through and approved, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, Restoring New York, no problem.
Lindsay, go.
So in July, Glenn and I worked on in partnership with the Village of Franklin, a Restore Round 9 project. We were successful this year. We were awarded $1 million. The total project cost between the award as well is going to be roughly
2.3.
2.3. And we are looking somewhere, we're looking at, I think, 2 housing 2 short-term rentals.
Well, there's gonna be a housing component. Let's
It's
just-
housing,
let's
okay,
just say
housing
that.
component and then commercial downstairs, with some wellness, in the middle of the second floor. And yeah, we're hoping that this helps.
Yeah, really, the whole purpose is one of the buildings right in the middle of that main block on Franklin. It's collapsing in on itself and it's gonna tear the other buildings down. So this will completely renovate that, make 2 other buildings more useful and just, you know, bring it back to life. And it's gonna look really good.
Lindsay, what are the residents?
Yeah. And then we'll worry about small infrastructure related
Okay.
things that may or may not exist.
Or, and then unknown.
$2 million.
Yeah. And then we'll worry about infrastructure. That's the way the state wants it, so.
You know, the infrastructure he's referring to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
But
it's a little, it's a little frustrating to me, but okay.
Well, that was the reason why we were denied,
Yeah. We don't have the ability to handle the sewer.
that's the reason why we were denied the first time, because we tried to address infrastructure, so.
We go. That's great.
All right, so that's it. Oh,
That
micro
building- That
enterprise.
building looks good right now. It's been
Yeah.
recently, yeah.
It looks fine on the bottom floor, but when.
And supposedly he's doing pretty well with that.
I mean, I've been in there a couple times, but yeah, when you walk around there, it's soft, for sure.
He doesn't own that building, does he?
Well, micro enterprise, if you're ready.
Yes, micro enterprise. So working with the Western Catskills Revitalization Center as a partner on this project. On Wednesday, I will be pitching to my committee the idea of applying for a micro enterprise program. So through that, we would submit a grant for $300,000. A portion of that would go towards an entrepreneurial training program. 24 hours of, you know, classroom setting, training in all aspects of running a business. That part of the service would be provided by Western Catskills Revitalization Center. Not them personally, but they would handle putting everything together, holding classes, everything like that. They would also partner with us on admin and things like that. And then at the end of the day, this is just a round number, we would have somewhere around $250,000 available to provide matching grants to the businesses that complete the entrepreneurial training program. On paper, the state allows for as little as a 10% match requirement. But you know how cheap I am, and just to make sure there's buy-in, not wish list type things, we would be requiring a 50-50 match for businesses unless they meet an income eligible level, at which point their match would be 40% match. So this would be an application that the county applies for, but we like to use the LDC as a subrecipient, so we manage all the money on our side. So that's why I mentioned it under the LDC, because the LDC would be a direct partner with the grant. We would absorb all responsibility for the program on behalf of the county through a contract, which is what we do typically when we do any grants through the county. And then management just allows us to control the money, and it facilitates the entire process. Okay, there. Damn, now we're back on schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
Fill in.
Spillian is. Oh, yes, this is, yeah.
Okay, motion to go to executive session,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Uh,
Second, the motion to go to executive session. So moved. Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We've got a couple of motions. Bruce,
Yeah.
motion.
I'll make the motion for spilling. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so that doesn't work, right?
No, it doesn't, really.
Nice thing.
No one second that, all in favor? Aye. Provide a farm inventory,
Make a motion, we move forward with the loan applications.
I'll second, or Scott
I'll
second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye,
Other old or new business?
Skip the,
What did we miss here?
skip the $135, right?
Glenn said that that was moving along.
With the attorney.
News is
Okay, done.
Okay.
very good.
Is there anything to do in executive session with that? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, anything else? Motion for adjournment,
So moved.
second?
Second.
I think you only need one for that, but